Stephen, Luca and Tyler. Now they're from a film called It Gets Better, which has been nominated at our festival in Nice. Congratulations, welcome to you all.
Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you.
Thanks.
So yeah, if you could each introduce yourself and your connection to the film, and then one of you give us a synopsis. So away you go.
Stephen Rasica, writer, director, and producer of the film.
My name is Luca Frick. I'm an actor from New York City, and I play the young man in It Gets Better.
Tyler Stone from New York City, and I composed the original score.
Yeah, so It Gets Better. I began writing this piece about 5 years ago. It focuses on an older man who's watching a YouTube video of a young gay teenager who's making an It Gets Better video. So if you're not familiar with the whole It Gets Better campaign, it's a YouTube campaign that's set up to give words of hope and inspiration to GLBTQ youth. I was inspired by one video in particular, a young boy from Buffalo, New York, who made one of these videos and later ended up committing suicide. So it's an older man who's watching a It Gets Better video by a young gay teenager, and after self-medicating, decides to make his own video and tell his own story. And he's trying to stay positive, but he's letting his own inner demons get in the way.
Thank you, brilliant. And normally I'd jump straight in with you as the film director, but actually I'd like to ask Luca first, because I'm always intrigued by the composing the score.
Oh, Tyler,
Tyler.
No worries.
So Tyler, can you give us a flavour of just how difficult that is? Because you're starting with a blank. Yeah, because you're starting with. What I love is you're starting with a blank sheet, effectively. I know you've been given the gig, but one day you're going to go home and go, shit, now I've got to do it.
Now I've got to make music.
Now you've got to do it. And I'm always really interested to know how on earth you do that and the creative process.
Well, I do a little smoke inspiration.
Is he giving you? But is he giving you themes? I guess. Directions.
He came to the session, and I just start playing with instruments, throwing down chords, and when I get a reaction out of him, that's when I'll take it from there, and then build on that. So the first initial few minutes of it is establishing the sound. Where do we want to go? How do we want it to, how do we want it to sound? So once he really reacts to a piece of music and says, "Oh, I like that," then I'll build upon that sound and write the rest out.
So have you got samples you've got in the bank, as it were, that you can call on? I mean, are you forever composing little snippets and go, "Oh, that could be useful, that could be useful"?
Well, yeah, I have a library of samples that I've created, or royalty-free samples that I've purchased. But for the most part, I write my own from right there, from the keyboards.
Yeah.
Which my keyboards is like a virtual instrument. So my one keyboard can create an infinite source of sounds, and however you tweak them, arrange them, you build your own unique sound that way. So with this one in particular, I started with a very minimal piano, like one note, became three notes, became a chord, and then from that chord, the chord progression began.
Is this your first gig in film? Have you done others?
This is the first film that I've ever been nominated for, we'll say that.
Right,
but
okay.
I've done a few work for hires, but now I'm doing my second feature, which is a horror film.
Oh, right, so wow.
It's just it's snowballing, so it's good.
So I know I said, sort of half joking a moment ago, shit, this is real now. But did you actually get that? Did you walk away and go, right, okay, now this is the big deal, and I've got to put something? Or are you not that kind of person? Is it? Are you quite sort of easygoing? And not the nerves is what I'm getting at,
The nerves don't get me. To be honest with you, I don't know if ambitious is the right word, but I have a clear set of goals on what I want to accomplish, and this is my first for the past year or so first go in film. But I've been producing house records for 5 years.
Oh, right.
Yeah, and producing that. I've been writing a couple of musicals. So this is my first his film was my first official film.
Right. But I suppose with that experience, you're saying about house music and doing other stuff. God, I'm saying I'm putting words into my mouth. I don't mean to, but I'm trying to get to the transition from that to doing it for films. Is it completely?
It wasn't that hard.
Right.
In my mind, I knew I wanted to compose for horror, or for films and horror films. I have a fascination with horror films, but
yeah.
I wanted to compose, and I didn't know how to really find my bearing. And I ended up forming a band and getting into house music by accident, and that how I established my name in New York City, and that's how he ended up hearing about me, was through my other endeavors.
Right, okay. Thank you. And
Yeah.
I know you sort of touched on the synopsis and where the idea came from, but can you tell us a little bit more about the idea and where it came from, the sort of background to that, and why you went from, okay, this is something I'm interested in, and actually I want to make a film about this?
Yeah, so I, around 5 years ago is when the whole It Gets Better campaign started.
Yeah.
And I read about this story about this 15-year-old boy from Buffalo, New York, who made this inspirational video about how he was bullied and how things are better now, he's got friends, and then 3 months later, he ended up committing suicide. And then I started to read about other instances where young GLBTQ youth have made these videos and weren't able to battle their own demons. So I was thinking about that and what somebody from from the older generation, how they would react to this, what they would have to say to.
Well, like there's an interesting twist on that take, yeah.
Yeah.
Right, okay. No, carry on. Sorry, interrupted.
Oh
you.
yeah, and again, he is trying to stay positive. He is trying to give that message of hope, but he's looking at what's going on around him and how things were for him, and we see the inner conflict within the main character of this film.
Yeah, and it's quite powerful. And I've seen the film. It's quite a powerful film, and it's really well made. So as you're going through the planning process and thinking, this is the story I want to tell. But the story that you ended up with, is that kind of pretty much the story that you wanted it to be? So what I'm getting at is, I assume the first draft, the end draft are radically different, and those changes that came about, and how did they, if there were any changes, how they came about, and why you decided to tell the end story?
I really just wanted to focus on this central monologue that he gives, the main testimonial that he's giving. I just really wanted to focus on that, and I'm sorry,
Well, I guess a simpler way to ask questions is the initial idea you had, the initial story. Is that the end story? Is the story that you actually ended up with, or did it change as you went along in the process? Was that always the intention from the out?
It was pretty much the intention. It started with the monologue, with the testimonial, and I knew I kind of wanted to end on an ambiguous note. And then I just kind of developed the story from the initial testimonial.
Right. Okay. And about the casting, I should ask the acting as well. So it's always tough when you speak to them because it's the preparation for the role. I mean, tell me about how you were cast, and also how you, once you knew you had the part, is there a preparation process that you go through, or you just, that's it, I'm in, and I'm just gonna not fly by the seat of my pants? I'm sure you didn't, but what is the process that you go through? So how did you two hook up?
The editor of this movie was a director of mine from a year ago that I did a project with.
Yeah.
So he initially recommended me, I believe, for this part, and then I went in and auditioned for Steven, and he called me that night and asked me if I would be his young man. So that was that. I was glad to accept. And then I basically just talked with Steven about what the role is going to take, what do I need to prepare, what am I doing, who am I, all these character informations, and basically the thing kind of came together on the day of shooting as well, when we were actually there talking to Steven about what he wanted and how he wanted it. So it was kind of.
Is he fun to work with?
Yeah, I mean, Steven is very, very.
You're not a taskmaster, I guess. Is it?
No. Steven is
very free.
It was very freeing. It kind of, this is. He was like, this is my idea, and then we basically had a lot of room to work in.
Well, that's interesting. So would you say, for instance, I know he's got to read a certain passage or that's already in the script, but mightn't you say something like, what's your thoughts about this? Do you think that's the right way to, I don't know, project these lines, or do you think it should be nuanced in this way? I mean, do you encourage that kind of thing?
Yeah, well, Actually, the second day was the most fun to shoot. It's a flashback sequence,
Right.
And in the monologue, the man talks about discovering his sexuality for the first time. So we have a flashback sequence of the young man and his lover just kind of meeting each other and kissing for the first time and embracing each other. So it was just it was a fun day.
It was fun.
It was a fun day to.
It was fun to shoot. Yeah. Well, there were some kind of difficult moments as well.
There
that
were,
we
yeah.
portrayed as the young man.
So that we have a moment where he is kind of falling down this rabbit hole, kind of falling into an abyss. So there's that moment. Then there's another moment where he's kind of at the bottom of this rabbit hole, and he's kind of taking in his new surroundings and
Right.
you know, where do I go from here, basically. But yeah, we used music a lot. Music really helped us kind of get us into the mood.
Music on set, you're talking about.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, do you know what? There's a great composer I know. If you want this guy to come up with some music, he's your man,
Yeah.
isn't he? So, what, and that lightened the mood, yeah?
Oh yeah, no, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
And just getting back to the music for a moment. So when he's involved, is that from like an assembly cut, or is it? So in other words, have you got a sort of kind of complete film, then he gets it, or is it as you go? Is he working as you go? I'm just trying to get an idea.
Yeah,
about
so we did have a cut before I had an idea of what kind of music I wanted.
Yeah,
I knew
yeah.
that I wanted to be very piano based. I know that Tyler's background is in house music, so I know that he would provide the right edge to it. So it really just kind of morphed into something that was even bigger than I had ever anticipated, and really just adds this whole new dimension.
I think what also kind of surprised him is I've been playing piano my whole life. And
Yeah.
I've been writing. I write on piano, and I compose all of my instruments, strings, whatever, start on piano, and then you through virtual instruments change it into percussion strings, whatnot. So a lot of people think that I'm house music only or I'm rock and roll only.
Right,
so
of course.
It always kind of blindsides them when I bang out a classical piece.
Yeah.
Boom. So I think once I started giving him those notes that he wanted, he started to get very excited and he was like, oh,
Yeah.
let's do it. We banged out the whole thing in one session.
Yeah.
Wow. Let's be honest, composers are sickeningly talented, aren't
Yeah.
they? When I speak to them, honestly, I'm really intrigued by the way they work because I just cannot understand how they can do what they do. Look, don't get me wrong, everyone associated with film are really talented people, but when I hear composers, I'm like, Christ, how do they do that? How do they put together something? Because it needs to be unique, doesn't it?
Yeah.
That's the thing.
And when I did one film before his, and then I did his, and each film that I get and that I do comes to me silent, and it's like a done final cut or it's close to final cut, but it's always silent, and it's always interesting to see how the music will elevate and change a story.
Yes.
And it's just it blows me away. It's like, wow, this is a completely different film now
Yeah.
that there's music in it.
And how do you, or maybe you do, I don't know, how do you avoid getting influenced by pieces you've heard before, or the flip side would be, if you are, does that help?
Some people will give me oh, I like these 3 movies, and I
Right.
like these 3 soundtracks, and what I'll do is I'll listen for what it is about that soundtrack that they like, and then just kind of try to do my own spin on it. Sometimes I could be not difficult to work with, but I will shut somebody down when they say, "Can you recreate this sound?" Because it's no, because it's not original, and it won't work for your film. It works for that film.
Oh, right, so you've been asked, someone here that, I don't know, Dune is a classic one as an example, and someone may say to you, well, can we just use that? And then you...
Well, they'll say, I like how this sounds. Can you do something like it? And it's well, I can give something that gives the emotion and the energy,
Yeah.
but it's not going to sound the same. I don't want it to sound the same, because there's nothing in it for me.
Right.
Yeah.
And there's nothing in it for your film, really, if it sounds too much directly. If I did a score that sounded exactly like John Carpenter or James Horner, just like it, they're going to know that it's a ripoff, So, but I do accept references like that. I'd like it to have this kind of feel. That's 100%
Yeah.
cool, and that helps me go, okay, how do I translate that into another song?
And I always try and avoid asking people their favourite films because I think that if someone asks me, I can name 10, but I won't put them in a particular order. But I'd like to ask if there are a couple of films that you think they are the best sounding films I've ever heard in terms of score.
Scores?
Yeah.
Oh my God, Requiem for a Dream.
Good. Yeah, it's very good. Yeah.
Because that Requiem for a Dream has like the Kronos Quartet, right? It's a quartet, but they after in the mixing studio, they added this level of like electronics to it, and like those weird noises.
Yeah.
Which when I was like, I would say when I was like 15, I wrote a song, and my brother was like, "You ripped off Requiem for a Dream," and I'd never heard it before. So I go through and I listen to it, and I was like, oh my God, it sounds almost just like it. So maybe I should do scores, you know? So Requiem for a Dream is definitely really good. I love all of like the music from the Kubrick films.
Right.
Like A Clockwork Orange, the opening intro.
Yeah.
Like that's right in the birth of the synthesizer era. So you get these like fake horns, which really inspired me. And I love me some John Carpenter. I love that he directs and he composes his own films. And Halloween
Halloween's brilliant.
stands out above everything else. You hear Halloween, you know.
I was about to say Thing, but I think that's Ennio Morricone. I think.
The Thing?
I think.
I love The Thing.
Yeah, Thing's beautiful. Yeah.
I
Funny,
love
we were
The
talking about Requiem for a Dream last night as well with other filmmakers, ironically. Yeah. So sorry, I interrupted you.
No. Yeah, I would say I'm also. It's so hard to name a favorite.
Oh no, this is why I try not to because
I'm
I get stuck.
totally inspired by horror films and horror
Right.
soundtracks. So like the Hellraiser soundtrack, I love. Requiem for a Dream, like I said, John Carpenter. I'm trying to think of any other ones.
I am obsessed with Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the
soundtracks.
Rings, fantasy sound
Yes,
is really
yeah.
fun.
Love.
I saw Alien Covenant last week. We got it a week before you, and I actually really thought it was brilliant actually. But aside from that, what they is really clever is they've used the music from the original. I think it's is it Goldsmith? I think who wrote the original music for the original Alien, and they reference that throughout Alien Covenant. There's lots of samples from the original film.
I want to see Covenant so
It's
bad.
really good. It's really good. It's actually really terrifying.
saw it?
Yeah, so in the UK we got it a week before you. So I saw it on the last Friday, one of
nice.
the first showings, and it is real edge of the seat gripping stuff.
I can't wait.
So yeah, you're going to really love it. So in terms of your input to the film, each of you, as a percentage, is it kind of 100% how you hoped it would be? 80? What's your sort of take on the final version that you have? So the vision that you all,
the vision that I had.
the vision that you all had in terms of you making the film, you being in the film, and you composing the film. Where would it sit?
I think it's actualized. You know, this is what I had in mind going in, and actually it's even bigger than I had ever anticipated. Just with the level of talent and the way that it's shot and just the way that it sounds. I think everything it's bigger and more powerful than I could have ever anticipated.
Right, that's good. So the reason I like to ask is because I know filmmakers by their very nature can always look back and go, I wish I'd adjusted this and done that. So
Yeah.
it's always a nice way to know how you feel about the final product. And I shouldn't use the word product, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
The final film. And what about the acting side of it? Do you
I
like
feel
watching
like it
yourself
did-
acting? Actually, I should
Do
have
I
asked.
like?
Yeah, because a lot of actors don't like to look at themselves.
Sure. Well, it depends if you think you've done your job. If you think
Oh,
you
that's
look
interesting, yeah.
or that you've done it justice, then I mean, hopefully you did, and you're proud of it. And I think this was really beautifully done. It's really artistically gorgeous. It looks beautiful, so I am happy about this particular performance. Sure, yeah, absolutely.
Excellent.
I'm happy to. I'm always gonna listen to a piece of my work 400 or 500 times to the point where I'm sick of it before it even makes it to the public. So yeah, I'm pretty pleased with it, and I'm also very OCD about things. So when we did our first screening, there was a glitch maybe that had come through, and you can ask him. I was like, "Wow, when are we gonna get rid of it?
Yeah.
We can't have it when we go to France, you know." So, but I think altogether it's really beautiful. I was stunned to see it, how the color correction is great, the editing is great. It's just shot well, great angles, great acting. So I was proud to be part of it. Proud to put my name on it. You know?
Oh, that's
Yeah.
really cool. And for you all as a collective, I don't know if you're working on a project together, but what have you got coming up that you're working on now?
Yeah,
after
I'm
this?
currently adapting a short story called Mold. It focuses on...
Sorry, Mold?
Mold.
Mold, okay.
Focuses on a young gay teenager. His mom and his mom's boyfriend, the teenager, develops a little bit of an infatuation with the boyfriend.
Right,
So
okay.
all the while their house is being overcome with this horrible mold.
I love the title of that, by
Yeah.
the way. That's a sick. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
So is this a series or is it a comedy?
It's not as dark as this piece, but it's a drama.
Right, okay. And that's another short.
It's another short, but I think it does have feature potential.
Right, oh, right, okay.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Thank you. And
I'm currently in an immersive theater show in New York City.
tell. So what's
an-
immer?
An immersive theater is basically a type of theater where actors interact with the audience.
Right.
So in some cases, the audience would get certain roles.
Oh,
that they could
what they
choose
would know
to-
about beforehand. You don't
They
stick
wouldn't
them around.
know. Like
oh, right.
or maybe they would. Depends how the show works. Usually when they arrive, they get a certain role they could do, that they could choose to do or not, or just be spectators and kind of walking around. But it is usually pretty much involved from both sides, actors, audience, and you play off of each other, and you interact, you improvise with them. So that I do a lot of that in New York City. So this show is called the Illuminati Ball.
The Illuminati.
The Illuminati Ball.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
This is presumably after the Illuminati. Is this what it's sort of based on?
It's based on the 1972 leaked footage of the supposedly real Illuminati Ball that occurred in France.
Right. Okay.
But it's kind of a surrealistic piece by Cynthia Von Bueller, and it's a lot of fun. And we have something coming up. I'm actually missing a show right now that I was supposed to be in.
Right. To be here.
But something's coming up in spring 2018 that I'm pretty excited about. So it's kind of, it's always everything busy, recording some music, doing everything. Yeah, I'm
Thank
also a
you.
singer, so that's work on in every field.
Okay. Thank you for that. And finally,
right now, currently, I'm toggling between a couple of projects, but the main one I'm focusing on right now it's called The Killer Unicorn, but it's a feature-length horror film based around, it takes place in the clubs, which is cool because it's house music
oh right. Okay.
with a score. So it's basically this guy like tries to date rape this one person, and all of their friends think that they killed him and put him in a dumpster, but he didn't die, and he comes back a year later and he starts killing them off in the clubs. So he wears like a unicorn mask, and it's really shot well, and there's lots of incredibly famous drag queens in it. So he's killing off drag queens and he's killing off their friends in a unicorn mask, and he stalks them in the clubs. But the sound is really cool because it takes different elements that I'm really good at and creates like a powerhouse of music. So I'm like really pumped about it.
Brilliant.
We just did a sneak peek of it in LA, and it's like it was really well received. So
Thank you.
we'll see where it goes.
Fantastic. And one final question. I want each of you to tell me one fun thing about yourselves. It doesn't necessarily have to be connected with film at all. So what can you tell me about yourselves that would just make me go, well, that's interesting? There was me saying it wasn't going to be a tricky question. These two have got more time, but they're busily thinking, let you see.
Fun thing about myself.
Or an interesting thing.
Interesting thing. Let's see. I'll defer to Luca and Tyler, and I'll get back to
I'll
me.
give you more time. Well, I'm actually Slovenian originally.
Oh, right.
Yeah, so I moved to New York about 4 years ago. So I'm pretty close to my home right now. Just a few countries over. So my mom actually is here. She made it from Slovenia.
Oh, right, that's wonderful.
Just to visit, yeah. So it's good to be here. It's good to be in Europe. I love Europe.
Yeah, I'd really love Nice. I mean, I adore Nice.
Yeah.
It's a good place to go. I really do. I caught you on the hop. I don't mean to. I just thought, if you've got something you can tell me.
Well, this is my first time in Europe, so I'm super excited. I'm from the South, so I'm like a redneck. but I've been in New York for 8 years. Something which is like a random factoid about me is have you seen The Legend of Billie Jean with Helen and Christian Slater?
No.
My mom got pregnant with me after auditioning for that.
Right, okay.
And my father was a pretty popular guitarist in the South, in Texas.
Right.
And have you seen Urban Cowboy with John Travolta?
Yeah.
So that club Gillies is where they met. My mom ran the spot, and my dad played guitar, and Mickey Gilley named me.
Top that.
Oh.
Top that.
Yeah. Let's see. Interesting and unique. My father's in a Beatles cover band, and he actually is the.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
So,
That
yeah,
is really cool.
He's the Ringo Starr of the band, and he's actually the executive producer on the film. So he's a really great guy.
That's
And,
cool. I like
yeah.
That's cool. That's it.
Yeah,
That's
cool.
it. Thank you very much for all you.
Oh,
Thank
nice
you.
meeting you.
Honestly, thank you.